Go. The home plate umpire's Ronnie Teague. He's given us the go sign, and the first pitch is hammered down the right field line, and it will be foul off on what is going to be a sizzling weekend in Gainesville. Get underway. It's 86 degrees tonight. Humidity has it feeling more like 90. The wind has been blowing out for the most part throughout the afternoon. It should die down a little bit tonight. So Fowler finally back to the box, and the 0-1 pitch is outside for a ball. Left-handed hitter, they'll alternate left, right, all the way down to get to the 8 spot in the lineup, where they'll go right at the bottom of the order. And now 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count here to the leadoff hitter in the top of the first.
Boy, that changeup was so good. Let's see if Liam comes back to it here to Fowler.
Off the end of the bat.
And Fowler's a veteran guy. They like him in that leadoff spot. JUCO transfer out of Pearl River. Was actually hitting 7th in the lineup when the season started. But things, as you know, in college baseball, everything kind of extrapolates out to the end of the year where you can be the leadoff guy, which he is.
1-2 pitch in the dirt. Luke Heyman's the battery mate tonight of Liam Peterson. Heyman's been doing pretty much all the catching now. Here as we go down the stretch of the regular season and into postseason play. 2-2. Touch low. Full count now. Peterson's last 2 outings have been cut short by Mother Nature. That happened again last week at Austin.
Won't happen tonight.
Certainly not. Payoff pitch. And he stays alive here, shooting that one foul off to the left. Could have been ball 4, but protecting is Bryce Fowler, the right fielder. Justin LeBron, the man we highlighted earlier, their shortstop, is on deck. Bama comes in with a record of 39-13. They're 4 games above 500 on the road and 3 games above 500 in conference play. Tried the 3-2 again. Just got a piece of it.
This is a really good at-bat for a leadoff guy, getting the pitch count up now. This will be the 9th pitch of the AB, which is definitely what you want the opposing pitcher to do to the leadoff guy. So Alabama's got to be happy with this.
Base hit into right field. And a base running threat is aboard, and Fowler. That's a very good at-bat for the leadoff hitter for the Tide.
Yeah, real good veteran guy. He's at the top of the order for that reason. And now it's going to get interesting because you got some tough hitters coming up one right after the other.
Let's get right into Justin LeBron here. He's a .317 hitter. Driven in 65 as we highlighted it with their lineup card. And he can pick it too. He's a fun player to watch. And he's late on that. Just didn't time up an off-speed pitch by Peterson very well. Fowler at first is 11 stolen bases on the year. And this is a team in Alabama that does not ground into a whole lot of double plays. They've stayed away from it throughout the entire season. And Peterson nicely ahead here, 0-2.
Yeah, LeBron was struggling up until the Georgia series. Had 3 tough weekends where he was only 4 for 31. That was a 129 average. That was against LSU, Mizzou, and Vandy.
The 0-2 pitch in the dirt. Can we call hits in back-to-back games a hitting streak? Can we say he has a 2-game hitting streak coming into tonight?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but he turned it around last week at 5 for 11 against the Georgia Bulldogs at home.
1-2, 1 out. Got a big one there and setting LeBron down. First strikeout for Peterson, who last week had 3 before his day was cut short.
Yeah, got LeBron to pull off that slider. You can see the head and the shoulders pull out, and that ball just drops under his bat. Great pitch by Peterson.
Peterson, good to be back home. The last time he was on this home mound, he struck out 13 against Arkansas. Peterson's outing last week at Texas cut short by lightning. There was a 2-hour weather delay at Austin. And then the prior week, the South Carolina mess, where he threw 5 pitches, and they postponed the game after that. He came back to pitch in the finale of the series. Away with ball 1 here to Cade Snell, who's reached base 14 straight games for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, and he's been big because what he does, he protects LeBron.
One for you, sir. Although you'd fall out of the booth for that one. Good to see you again. Feel like the Gators have been away a long time.
Yeah, a couple of weeks there, Sean. We got a dandy this weekend here. I mean, so much at stake for both these teams, as we mentioned.
The 1-1 pitch, perfect. In there for his strike. The berms are already filling in. This is not the usual start to a series. I mean, you're going to have a Thursday start here and there during conference play. So it's a work night, school night. But the cool thing about the final weekend is that every team plays Thursday,
right.
Friday, Saturday. So it's not a staggered start to the weekend series like we see throughout. So we'll do some scoreboard watching with you tonight and through the series that will conclude on Sunday late afternoon, or Saturday rather, late afternoon. See, I'm already thinking Sunday. Sunday we'll find out, or we'll have a better picture Sunday, late Saturday night, who will play where in Hoover, because all the teams are coming for a single elimination tournament. That one's straight out to center. Yost is there, and there's two gone after that leadoff single by Fowler.
You see Peterson paying attention to Fowler at first base, and I think with 2 outs, definitely a chance to turn him loose here. But we talked about Fowler, 11 for 13 in stolen bases, but yet to have one in SEC play.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because if you look at their overall team attempts, they've only attempted 54 times, right?
Yeah.
By comparison, the Gators have attempted 97 stolen bases this year. But yet the top 2 guys in your lineup are double digits with regard to stolen bases.
Yeah, for the season, as you mentioned, the number that they have in stolen bases at 48 out of 54.
Yeah.
They're 11 for only 13 attempts in SEC play.
They were very good in their non-conference schedule. A 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike. Even now to Richie Bonamolo Jr. Cleanup hitter in their lineup.
Yeah, out of New York by way of Wabash Valley Community College.
Oh, the old cannonball. Bonamolo Jr. has reached base in 15 straight.
Anytime we can work in Stan Musial, it's good, right?
Absolutely. Especially when you consider they could also play the song on the harmonica too, by the way. That ball is crushed.
Up, and he made him pay. Bonamolo Jr. Watch him get the foot down. Then the barrel goes through, and that was a no-doubter.
Well, the Gators scored first in all 3 of their games last week at then #1 Texas. Here they come back home and will be down yet to touch the bat. And the 5th batter to come to the plate is first baseman Will Hodo.
Well, one of the ways that Liam Peterson has established himself, and they point to the fact that the Arkansas game when he gave up a home run to Aloy in the first inning, it went even further than the one we just saw. And old Liam Peterson would have fallen to pieces, maybe walked a few guys and let it snowball. What they love about him in that game, he came right back and struck out the next 2 hitters. So this is something to look at here. Does he let this thing affect him, or does he do what he did in the Arkansas game, just go ahead and say, hey, you know what, there's good hitters in the SEC. I'm going to give up home runs, but I'm going right back to business.
Swing and a miss. He responds with a strikeout of Hodo, but for Alabama, 2 runs on 2 hits. As famous as away 1 ball, 1 strike. Polzer comes in to tonight's action at 319 on the season. 1-1. That's a good start. Line over the shortstop. Actually, it's State and the second baseman. They had shifted. But nonetheless, Bozer's aboard here with a leadoff single, and he's a little shaken up here at the end of the play. What'd you see here, Nick, as he comes around the bag?
Yeah, I was watching the ball in the outfield. I'm going to see it here for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And just lost his footing as he was rounded. It looked like when he was in the grass area.
Yeah.
He looks like he's fine.
I think Michael Burns giving him a little of the business now, too.
That was interesting. That ball, as you said, was over Staten's head. It had a bit over LeBron's head. LeBron's taller. He probably would have had that.
So here's Brendan Lawson, and he'd love to get back on track. Lawson was sick and really under the weather all last weekend and had his worst 3 games as a Gator. But the freshman's put together an unbelievable start to his college career. He's batting .316 coming into the final weekend of play. And there's that changeup from Fay.
Yeah, he's any pitch at any time is Fay. Last week, the first batter he faced, McCarthy from Georgia, it was an 11 pitch at bat. Now he was able to get McCarthy out. A lot less to Bozer, but Bozer's standing on first.
Lawson went 1 for 13 last weekend in Austin. You know, it's interesting. We'll talk more about the bottom of the order when we get there, but it was those guys that kind of helped pick things up for guys like Lawson, who we've seen the Gators rely on near the top of the order so much. Runner going, and a swing and a chopper foul into the first base dugout.
Yeah, that was a delayed steal, and the reason why that would have worked, right after they did the defensive switch right there, that put the defense in a disadvantage of having to catch that ball on the run from the catcher. And I'll tell you, had that ball not been fouled off, Bozer would be at second base right now.
That's been his secret weapon, that delayed steal. Lawson might be 2. And a pretty good turn here by the Crimson Tide defense as the Gators ground into their 30th double play this season. And even with the shift, they're able to pull this off.
Yeah, LeBron stayed home. That's why. He does a smart play by just taking it himself. He's got a cannon for an arm, so no reason to flip that ball to a second baseman there.
So then it races the leadoff single. Now the catcher, Luke Heyman. First to Heyman is popped up. This is going to get out of play.
Another thing about Fay, when you watch him, he gives you that deceptive arm angle. It's kind of hard to pick up the ball.
The other thing about that, too, is the shadow line here at this time of day is cutting across the slab, the pitching rubber. The hitter is in the shade, and the top half of the pitcher is in the sun. Combine that with the arm angle that he was talking about, that slot.
Yep.
Now it's 1-1 here to Luke Heyman, who in the last 10 games is batting .256.
Yeah, he needs a big weekend. Gators trying to get that host spot. And you got to feel comfortable history-wise with the 13 wins the Gators have for postseason. But as we all know, getting to host is such an advantage in postseason play.
Saw that last year, Nick. You know, you just get into the thing,
yeah.
And there's conference play for Heyman. He was flirting with 400 about 3 weeks ago. It's kind of come back to reality a little bit for Heyman. But last year, you had to go on the road for regional, super regional, and then obviously Omaha's what it is. But as Heyman gets plunked here and goes down, oh my. And Jared Schweim's on his way out of the dugout to check on Heyman. Luke grabbing that wrist. And it is really quiet right now at Condren Ballpark.
Definitely a guy the Gators cannot afford to lose.
Florida's already shorthanded.
Yep.
Kevin O'Sullivan talked at the conclusion of the Texas series that for that series, he had 1 bench player available. And in game 2 of that series, Nato was sick, was a late scratch from the lineup, so he had 9 guys. That was it.
That was it.
I mean, he kind of made a little light of it. Heyman playing in his 49th game, 49th start this season. And right now, the next catcher would be Brody Donay, who's your starting first baseman today. In the immediate, there'll be a pinch runner to come out to take Heyman's spot. So Landon Stripling will pinch run here and take Heyman's spot in the lineup, which is the 3-hole.
And chances are he'll stay in and play first base.
Yes. All right, well, Heyman will wish him the best. He is heading for the tunnel for further evaluation back in the training room beyond. One on, 2-0 Alabama. Evans was the guy that you wanted to highlight coming into the game today, Nick, and it's because of what he's done here as a DH in the last, what, 7 games or so. Conference games, too.
Yeah, and hitting over, 321 in those games and 10 RBIs. And here's another thing, too. It's his last weekend as a senior here. You don't see that much anymore in college baseball between the portal, the draft, and all that. You don't see a guy that's in your program for 4 years that makes it all the way through. It's becoming a rarity. So it's
2-0 Alabama.
Kind and nothing more serious than that. But Sully did the right thing. Get him out, because you have to make sure he's 100%.
So Peterson back to work. He responded to the Bonamolo home run with a strikeout of Hodo. Pair of strikeouts, and now Jason Torres up for the first time. Third baseman for Alabama has reached base in 13 straight, adding 274 overall on the year. I mean, the Heyman thing, it just has the ripple effect.
Yeah.
It's his offensive presence. It's maybe more importantly his defensive presence.
Yeah, we just showed that 10 home runs in SEC play. Not many guys in this conference have done that.
2-1 to Torres. Is low.
Torres out of Miami Springs High School, transfer from the University of Miami. But he's been a good addition for them. I just like the way he plays.
That's belted out into right. Wilson up against the fence, and with the sun out, he's there to make the catch. And the glasses are an aid to Ashton Wilson. A long fly out for Torres. One gone here in the second. You talked about kind of what's next for both of these teams regarding the NCAA tournament. RPI for both Florida and Alabama. Very healthy coming in. In fact, Florida's strength of schedule now after facing Texas last weekend is up to 4th in the country strength of schedule. Coleman Mizell out of Hartselle, Alabama. 1 to him, down and away.
Yeah, there's some dangerous hitters down there. They call Mizell Bull. That's his nickname.
Thought about it. Appeal to the third base umpire, Alex Ransom.
I'm talking to Rob Vaughn. He liked the fact that Mizell got limited playing time in 24, but stuck around. Most guys will bolt these days. But he wanted to be part of the team and being rewarded with some playing time.
I wish it wasn't so rare anymore.
Yeah, right.
Because I enjoy watching a guy develop in one program. When Peterson has missed, it's primarily been low, although the one he left up ended up beyond the left field fence here in this early outing.
And Mizell's dangerous.
Playable, and Sear on his way in to make the catch. So a pair of fly ball outs, and that's exactly what Peterson did last week in his start against Texas. He recorded 5 fly ball outs in a row, 6 of 7 in a stretch that went from the first to the second, and then got a line out and a pair of fly outs in his final inning of work, the 5th, before the weather delay came in. He was letting the ball fly up there in the top of the second inning. 2-0 Bama as we go to the bottom half. Austin sends it across, and after giving up that 2-run shot in the first, Peterson has recorded a strike. Bottom of the third at Georgia, and Texas A&M, who's trying to get up off the mat here, leads at Athens 4-2. A&M has hit the skids here of late, and they're fighting for their postseason lives this weekend. Here's the 0-1 to Sear, and it's knee high for a strike.
And you got to commend what Mizzou did. You know, the coaching staff, you know, great job. Carrick Jackson and Tim Jamison just grinding it out.
That ball's belted out to left. Will the wind help it enough? No. It's going to hang up here, and Snell across to make the catch. That ball came flying off the bat. A little surprised.
Well, the wind's going from left to right, so it really did
Cut
not.
it off.
Yeah, it definitely hurt that ball.
Here are those flags. By the way, if you're wondering why they're at half staff here today in the state of Florida, across the state, those flags are at half staff to honor all those who have given their lives in the service of our community, honoring officers fallen in the line of duty. And another pop fly out, and the catcher Donay is retired on one pitch here, and a very quick start to the bottom of the second inning for Tyler Fay.
Well, he got the shutdown inning after the Bonamola home run, and he's 1 out away from getting back in the dugout. So he's been impressive.
20 pitches so far, and Hayden Yost trying to give his teammates a little more of a look at him. The first pitch is grooved in there for a strike.
Everything you see out of Fay, his ball just moves. He's got the sinker, the two-seamer, the cutter, the change.
The sinker, at least from what I've seen so far, Nick, not like a true sinker. It's more, it's a fastball with sink. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
So to me as a hitter, whether it's a two-seamer that has run on it, like the first pitch to Yosti, that ball's right at the first baseman. Knocked down, Hodo scrambling, can't come up with it. He'll commit his 6th error of the year, and the Gators have a base runner with 2 outs.
Ground ball right at him.
Yeah.
And that's probably a play he's going to make 99 out of 100 times, but not there. Now let's see if the Gators can make it hurt. Got Yost a runner at first base. Hole on the right side. You're down 2. Let's see how Kevin O'Sullivan plays it. With Heyman out of the game, you may want to play it a little different tonight, maybe.
Well,
maybe, yeah, you're down 2, which is going to say something right here.
First priority. Right. Left on base. Still 2-0 Alabama as we head for the third. Is our statistician. He has come up with a dandy of a note, Nick, as we get into the third. You know, we talked about the Kevin O'Sullivan era so many times, and Steve thought, you know, wonder Sully's so good at so many things. How's he in finishing the regular season? Never would have thought to go for that stat, but his overall record in the final games, you know, of the regular season, we'll take him in a batch of 3 here, a 3-game set. He's won 13 series to just losing 4 in his tenure.
Wow. And what about last year, having to win 2 out of 3 up in Athens, your rival, just to qualify for the playoffs, and he rolls that into a trip to Omaha.
And a walk here to start things in the third. First free pass for Liam Peterson. It's on 4 straight pitches. Cool. Now I say all these nice things about Kevin O'Sullivan, and I don't want, no, we're going to show him anyway. Yeah, a 4-pitch walk to the 9-hole hitter has that kind of a look.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, we show Kevin when that things happen, the 2-out walk and the leadoff walk, because they're in a coach in this country that's going to be happy about that.
Bryce Fowler up for the second time, 1 for 1. Tied right fielder. Donay doing the catching now. This is his first work with traffic.
Yeah, this is a big out to get with LeBron and Snell coming up, and then Bonamalo.
Right on target. That's where Donay wanted it. 2 balls and 1 strike.
You don't have to worry about the runner at first base right here. You just get the hitter.
Two. Fowler singled his first time up. Talked about Florida's strength of schedule. For Alabama, it's 18th right now, strength of schedule, as Peterson's run this full. The RPI, though, for Alabama is awfully impressive. It's 8 right now.
Yeah.
And
Rob Vaughn's done a nice job since coming over from Maryland with that ball club.
Popped him up and playable on the left side. It's kind of in no man's land here. Who wants it? Sear calls for it and stumbles into the out. Tough play. Blake Sear gets that first big out you were looking for with the 2 big guns coming up.
And, you know, when you're playing shifts and things like that, this is where balls can somehow fall in. He had a long way to run, did Sear. Nice play.
3 defenders converging here, partner.
Yeah, and it's funny. We've seen Bozer get out there way further than that.
So now LeBron, and the first to him is a strike. Peterson made quick work of LeBron back in the first. Struck him out, and he went down swinging at a breaking ball.
You see the angular body of LeBron, but 17 homers. And he's kind of like a scout's dream, because you could see where he could put more on his frame as he gets older. Just a sophomore, he was rated the 9th best shortstop in the state of Florida out of Archbishop McCarthy, but he was playing third base, so he wasn't on a lot of people's radar back then.
Stands 6-2, and he hits this one out toward Yost, to the track, to the wall, and it is gone. 2-run homer for Justin LeBron. Brings Plattner and LeBron across, and it's 4-0 Alabama.
Yeah, this kid's special. I mean, they're talking the possibility. I was talking to one of my scout friends before the game, and they're thinking, you know, he continues to grow like this, he could end up being 1st overall next year in 26.
1st overall.
He's in the conversation, I can tell you that much.
Well, he's made it 4-0, and that's the 50th pitch that you see right there from Peterson that goes bye-bye.
And the funny thing about it, he pulls his hands in here at the last second. He didn't really even get the arms extended. That's just some natural power again on that angular body of his.
So now Cade Snell lined out his first time up. And he about does the same thing again. Back out to Yost, and Yost on the move makes the catch at the warning track. 2 outs, nobody on, but 2 more runs in.
You gotta be careful with this guy too. You got a guy that hit a home run earlier in the ball game. He's coming up there feeling invincible. So you got to be careful. Maybe Gators start Bonamalo Jr. off with an off speed here, which is probably the play, because he's probably looking to hack a fastball.
Yeah, and the last 2 balls off the bat and headed right where that wind's blowing out toward left center right now.
And sure enough, slider to start him off.
8th home run of the year went out in left field for Bonamalo. The 1-0 is tailing away. You know, Peterson went 4 innings last Saturday, and they felt like because his day was shortened at Texas, they could get him back into the game 1 role here on Thursday night. And he just hasn't been as crisp tonight.
Yeah, 55 pitches in 2 2/3.
And got a little help there, 3-1. This inning started off with a 4-pitch walk to the 9-hole hitter. What do you know it? That's one of the runs that came in on the 2-run blast here in the inning by LeBron. Now the 3-1 pitch. Ball 4.
And I would think Sully would come out now.
And here right on cue is the head coach of the Gators out of the first base dugout.
Talking about a model of consistency. 9 times the Gators went to the College World Series under that man's tenure of 18 years. And 2020, there was no College World Series, so better than half the time. Sully has taken the Gators to Omaha. Austin, SEC Freshman Player of the Week.
I told him before the game today, I said, I started calling you El Rey, which is Spanish for the king, the way he pitched last weekend. Gators pitching stepped right up last week. The starters were dynamite. But down 4-0 here. Runner aboard, and Will Hodo struck out his first time up. Back here in the 3rd inning.
Threat to go. Now, it's interesting, too. Donay obviously hasn't caught as much as Heyman, but Donay will take a back seat to nobody's arm because he's got a cannon back there.
It's one of the things he improved on in the offseason with regard to his catching, was using that cannon. That's going to get down in right field. One hop to Wilson. He'll get it in quickly and hold the runner at second base. And so it's 60 pitches now for Peterson. Still trying to get this last out in the 3rd. And the 7th man to bat here against Peterson in the 3rd will be the 3rd baseman, Jason Torres.
And a dangerous hitter in Jason Torres. Came under one of the recommendations of one of his amateur teammates down in South Florida, one Justin LeBron. Had his name in the portal, and LeBron goes, I know this guy, we ought to get him. And Rob Vaughn goes, that's good enough for me. And Torres has done a nice job, 274, 11 home runs on the season.
Well, there's a history of certain players that have a name LeBron in recruiting other players to his cause. And that's well placed. And rounding 3rd, Bonamolo is going to come in and score here. And Torres with his 37th RBI makes it 5-0 Alabama.
Yeah, he's barely been paying off dividends for them. But that's a big, big 2-out RBI to add to the lead. Slider hung around knee level.
Feel pretty good. He's got a nice cushion to work with, as he will face 9-1-2 in the Gators lineup in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Starts here with Justin Nadeau. And the first 2 of them's outside for a ball.
Justin doesn't bunt much, but they do respect it. 3rd baseman up. So if I was Nadeau, I'd look for something away and just slap it to the left side.
This one's upstairs. 2-0. It was a 9-pitch inning last time on the hill for Fay. 6 of those 9 pitches for strikes. The Gators have had 3 base runners today, but only 1 has reached via hit, and that one was erased on a double play ball. Just joining us, the other storyline, other than the 5 runs, is Nadeau shoots this one a long way but foul. Is that Luke Heyman was hit by a pitch in the 1st and had to be removed from the game.
Yeah, I didn't. Gator fans hoping that all it is a bone bruise. Maybe he takes a day off, and that would be the best scenario.
2-2. Down on strikes is Nadeau.
The changing of speeds by Fay is what gets hitters. Now, he got on a roll against Georgia last weekend and then hit a wall around the 5th inning. But right now, he looks good. This is a pitch that it's belt level, but it's the speed change that got Nadeau.
Well, the 5th and the 6th have when the Gators have done their most damage this year. Each of those innings has seen 65 Florida runs. Well, it's kind of a collision course between Fay and then, of course, the Gators offense at that moment of the game. Normally that's a hit, but not here in the shift. And the 2nd baseman, Staten, retires Bobby Bozer.
I mean, all you tell is a hitter, just keep hitting it up the middle, because eventually you're going to play in a league where that's going to be a base hit. I don't know how long they're going to keep the shift in college baseball. I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm not either. You know, the major league shift has been just enough, don't you think?
Yeah, just enough. Yeah.
There's Lawson, and the freshman takes it on the outside corner for a strike.
I don't like, you know, after certain pitches, you're taking guys and moving on the other side of the field and all that.
Well, we saw Texas doing it almost according to count. They get an 0-2 count on somebody or a 1-2 count, and then they would pull off their defensive shift. Longhorns are at Oklahoma this weekend against their arch rival. Texas's magic number is 1 to win the regular season title.
And here's a guy the Gators need to get on track this weekend. Brendan Lawson, as you mentioned, was ill last week, and his shift now being employed with the 2 strikes.
Lawson is 1 for his last 14, and the count even now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I love the fact that you see the shift going. So many times I see him pitching away from the shift. Right now, the way they got that shift, they should be attacking him in. There's no way he should even see an outside pitch here.
Bouncer back to the mound. Fay over to first, and another quick inning for Tyler Fay. He is through 3, and Alabama is off to a...
Now, Kevin O'Sullivan wants Peterson to max it out, meaning he needs him to get to that whatever 90-95 pitch count and get through another at least 2-3 innings.
And Slayton's aboard here, hit by pitch. So that's 2 walks and now a hit batter in these last 2 innings. I'm with you as far as even if Peterson can get you through the 5th.
Yeah, it's the first night of a 3-game important series, right? You got to save that bullpen as much as you can. Even though you're down, you need Liam Peterson right now to eat innings. Give your offense a chance to come up and make a dent. Look, it's 5-0. It's college baseball. It's not an insurmountable lead.
So here now the catcher, Plattner, and this is where the problem started for Peterson last inning. Plattner, a .278 hitter, walked out of the 9-hole to lead things off in the 3rd. He came in on the LeBron home run.
Yeah, his story is interesting. He was redshirted last year at Ole Miss. He transfers to Bama, wins the starting catching job, and fractures his hand versus Auburn. Had to put a pin in his hand, and now he's back healthy again.
Peterson coming in on him, just missed.
They call Plattner the ultimate team guy, which you definitely need from your catcher.
I was just going to say, it's the right position for that label, isn't it?
Yeah.
Plattner and the Tide. Yeah, obviously you talked about the way they've played collectively. They have a spirit about them. You know, Vaughn, who comes over from Maryland, 10 years with the Terrapins in different roles, obviously the last being the head coaching role. But Alabama needed, obviously, a reset with their program. And that's not so easy for a guy to come in to provide and do it in a conference as such. So he's to be applauded for that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're seeing what's going on at South Carolina.
Might be 2 here. On the turn, Bozer sends it across, and Peterson gets a much-needed double play. The Gators turn their 34th of the year, and it's, again, an Alabama team that only grounded into 17 double plays all season.
That's exactly what the Gators needed right now. They entice the ground ball. Nice feed by Nato Bozer with the easy throw. But going back to what I was saying, what Vaughn has done is so impressive because usually it takes a year or so. We're seeing the growing pains that Paul Maneri's having at South Carolina. And, you know, he'll get it figured out, but it's just not easy to just turn programs around immediately.
The problem here with Nato's right hand.
And again, the bench is thin right now with all the injuries. They're holding it on there as if
there's bleeding.
There's bleeding going on. Yeah, exactly.
Jared Schweim working on Justin Nato here. Boy, Heyman out already.
And I don't know if the ball hit him funny here. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yep.
Ball hits you. I know what happened because I've had this happen. Ball hits you right on the nail, and it breaks your nail, and then the fun begins. That's my speculation here.
Yeah, he's what a lot of infielders say. He's covering, right? So his glove is down. He's covering with his throwing hand, and that's not only to secure the ball, but it's to begin the flip, right?
Yeah,
and so
they're touching the nail right there. The nail pops, it could have popped off, but it's just a nagging thing. It's one of those bad luck injuries. It's just the way he had his finger pointed at the glove, as you said he was going to help secure the ball before he made the flip, and you could see it on the replay. As soon as it hit his hand and he flipped it, he went and started looking at his finger.
Boy, oh boy! Now that depth conversation.
Yeah, now you're going to get
even worse.
Now I know Sear has played some second base in his career. I don't know where they're going to go with this, and if they do that, they're going to need another outfielder. I'm just guessing at options here. That looks like Blake Brookins, doesn't it?
You've already lost, middle infielders Kate Curlin this year, Colby Shelton there, who, by the way, gets into that new apparatus on his right hand here this week.
Blake Brookins, just outfielder, just left to go to the locker room. Maybe he had his glove in there or something. Because my guess would be Sear to second, Brookins to left. Of course, we haven't seen much of Blake this year.
As in none.
We saw him for a couple of bats a year ago. We see him at BP every day. And that'd be funny. I mean, he may have just gone back to his locker room and get his glove.
You're talking about a guy in Brookins that, likely was in a position to redshirt and retain a year of eligibility.
Yeah, he went and got his helmet and his shin guard. He's waiting to see what happens here. Now, if they fully remove NATO, are they still working on him?
It'll be interesting to see how much longer the umpiring crew will allow them to work on NATO.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Does NATO come back out? There's Ron Teague in the middle talking to his counterparts.
We brought it up earlier. Kevin O'Sullivan, for 2 weekends in a row, including last week at Texas, had one bench player available. Did not have any in game 2 against Texas when NATO was sick. And now 2 starters potentially out now for Florida here in game 1 of this regular season finale. Peterson, meanwhile, trying to stay loose as he's sitting on 70 pitches here in the top of the 4th inning.
I would think if Sear's going to end up playing second, they should be throwing him some ground balls about now. I think the only holdup is to see if they can repair NATO's finger. I'm just speculating it's a fingernail issue.
Well, again, us being up here in the booth, you don't want to go all in on that, but surely all the signs, Nick, is exactly what's happened here. He's either split the end of that finger or the nail, something along those lines. So if Blake comes in here, you're talking about Brookins losing his red shirt, burning the red shirt, as he would be called into service. And now they're going to think about, there's Sear. They want him to come in and get his infielder glove.
Right. And he should be getting some ground balls about now.
So now I think it's clear they've determined that NATO can't continue.
Sear played some second base at the University of Miami for sure. He played a lot more. I played a handful of games. We've seen him this year at second, not much.
you're just kind of getting in on our conversation here, this is an inordinately long delay, and it's because of two reasons. One, let's start with NATO himself, and that is, could they get the bleeding stopped? Could they repair whatever's going on with his throwing hand? And could he continue? But then the other thing is, the Gators don't necessarily have any depth left.
No, they made the decision.
Brookins will come in and make his first appearance.
He's going to go out to left field. Ciro plays second, as I predicted. But I always talk, when I see Brookins out there, I call him Yelich because he's left-handed hitter, angular body. Well, hey, look. We saw what Ashton Wilson did a year ago when he sat the majority of the season and had to play.
So Blake Sear at second now. And Brookins will bat in the 9 hole, replacing Justin Nadeau. And there is the 6'5", 225-pound sophomore out of Miami Palmetto High School. And boy, oh boy, in a 5-0 game. Anything else you want to roll into this one here, partner?
No. It's all been on the bad side for the Gators because you've lost 2 starters. You're down 5. And it just has not been a good. It's one of those as a manager, like, God, can we just start this thing over?
The latest we're getting on Colby Shelton is that, could be back sometime in the postseason.
Yeah, I see the hard cast is off, so that's good.
There's Kate Kerwin. There's your starting middle infielders for the year.
Yeah,
Kerwin is done for the year.
Well, right up the middle, you got Kyle Jones too.
I was going to say, if that ground ball goes right at Sear, that the ball finds. So 2 outs, nobody on. It's the top of the order here for Alabama. And Bryce Fowler was waiting a long time to get up for the 3rd time tonight. He's 1 for 2. And that one just hits the cap of the bat. And Peterson trying to get this thing done here in the 4th. There's bullpen support if needed. Matthew Jenkins was up and throwing for the Gators. But with the use of a double play ball, the one that injured Nadeau. Here's Bozer charging, looking for out number 3. It's going to be close, and he got him.
The hitter, ground ball, it just hits off your hand that you turn a double play on, get you out of the game. Crazy.
So Landon Stripping will lead it off. He will wear it. Okay, this is, thankfully it hits the armor down on the ankle, but man, it is tough out in the streets here of Gainesville right now. So Fay, a rare mistake from him. I was just about to say 37 pitches, 26 for strikes through 3 innings, allowing 1 hit.
That's the 5th batter he's hit this year, which is relatively low.
And what is it about the 3 spot in the lineup? Heyman was hit with a pitch and had to leave the game. Stripling comes in, takes his place. He gets hit by a pitch.
Well, Gators need to bunch some hits here. Get Fay in a high leverage situation.
Ty Evans with a 1-0 pitch, and that's lined out to center. That starts it when you ask for a pickup truck full of hits. You have to have 1 to start, so it's 2 on for the first time tonight for Florida with nobody out. And look, it wasn't just but a week ago that they had the 6-run first inning. That started the series at Texas. So Evans gets his job done. And Blake Sear now to the plate, who has been the left fielder and now the second baseman of record for Florida. First to him's on the outer edge for strike 1. Sear flew out to left his first time up. The crazy thing was, with all the crazy that's happened tonight, One swing and we're into a whole different ball game. Fay misses inside, and all of a sudden now the Alabama bullpen is stirring. And Nick, I go back to your prescient thoughts earlier about the way that he grooved last weekend against Georgia, and then seemingly the wheels came off for Tyler Fay.
Yeah, we ended up going 4 complete.
And the Gators are seeing him for the second time through now, as that one's off the mask of Plattner. 1-2 to Blake Sear.
Now, last week he was pulled after 71 pitches. He's at 43 right now. But this is a big at-bat just to keep the line moving.
The lead runner is Stripling. Good take. Boy, the run on that pitch.
I like one impression.
That'll be the last time I use that this year. Just not one you had to pull out very often. .302 hitter with runners on, and this one's popped up. That wind might help it. It's going to be warning track power, and the center fielder Bonamolo makes the catch, but nice tag up in advance here by Stripling to put him at the corners with 1 out. So in a sense, Sear does a job here in getting this base runner 90 feet away.
Yeah, productive out, and now Dene just avoid the double play here, put it in play, and you get a run.
I talked to Brody earlier today. I said, okay, well, it's funny some of the conversations I have with Brody. I said, okay, what did you do to get better this week? You know, just kind of get him off guard a little bit. I always try to find some random question. He goes, well, funny you should ask. He said, last weekend, I kind of wanted to get back to the form that I had to start the season. All that offseason work. Pitch back to the screen. Here comes the first run of the game for the Gators. And to score is Stripling. And it's 5-1.
Heads up play right there, and I think Fay fell asleep because that ball hit off the wall back there and shot back to Plattner. Watch how fast this thing comes back, and Fay takes his time getting a home.
Yeah, the ricochet was to Alabama's favor. The hustle by Plattner was to the Crimson Tide favor, but Fay not there. That'd probably been a play, like you said. Also advancing is Evans to second. The 1-0 to Brody Done, swing and a miss. So back to what we were talking about, which was, I said, I guess you appeared to be more patient last week. Yeah, I wasn't chasing so much. He hit the home run. He goes, I only had 1 hit all weekend. I said, but Brody, some of the other balls that you hit were actually better than the home run.
Sure.
He just happened to hit him into a 20-mile-an-hour wind. That's off the handle.
Yeah, it was a well-pitched game series by both teams. No Gator player had more than 3 hits. And yet taking 2 out of 3 from the then #1 team in the nation on the road. That was pretty impressive. So he had to be happy with that effort and got you to that 13th conference win, which is huge.
1-2. Got to buy him. Went upstairs with a fastball at 95 miles an hour. 2 gone.
Yeah, and that's something he usually doesn't pull out that often, but he just muscled up on this and let it fly over the hands.
That's where Plattner wanted it too. So it's up to Yost now to add to the 1 run already in.
This would be a big 2-out RBI.
Hayden's hitting .256 with runners in scoring position. Fay comes right at him here. Strike 1. Double barrel action in the Alabama bullpen. Well, that strikeout is a big lift. Takes some pressure off of namely Blackwood and Myers, who've been warming in that.
I'd be looking pen. Change up here. They pounded him 2 fastballs. He has a good changeup. And he has that sinker that dives away from lefty. So Yost should be looking in that area right now. Doesn't mean if he comes inside he can't pull it.
The slide piece has also kind of been a good out pitch for Fay. And he runs that one away, 2-1.
But you see where Plattner's setting up. He's setting up away. They threw a couple over the plate, 1 inside. Now they're going to just change in and out.
There's no shift here, but the second baseman, Staten, is basically in shallow right field. So 2-2 is the count. Look how far out Staten is at second base. It's almost like a, remember in softball they used to call that the short center?
Short center, yeah, you could hit like a slow routine ground ball to
Start, pair of 2-run home runs. Gators just now got on the board in the bottom of the fourth, so here we are, friend. Fifth inning, 5-1 Alabama, and still a long way to go.
And job number one for Liam Peterson, keep Alabama at that 5-run number. Let your offense go to work.
Starts here with LeBron, who had one of the two-run homers tonight for the visiting Tide. And it's a good start here as Peterson's going after the zone. His last 2 innings, he has been shaky. He had a 4-pitch walk to the 9-hole hitter in the third to lead off. And then he hit the 8-hole hitter with a pitch to begin his work in the fourth. So ahead here to LeBron at 1 ball, 2 strikes. And let's go back to what you said. Game 1 of the series, getting length out of Peterson.
Yes.
And as you said, kind of emptying the tank, and that's a great pitch to end the sequence. LeBron chases a twister down and away, 1 out on a strikeout, the 3rd of the night for Liam Peterson. So, and the reason we bring this up, here's a look at that nasty delivery.
Yeah, second time they got LeBron.
Is that tomorrow you're scheduled to start Pierce Capola, who we think will get over 50 pitches, but he's still going to serve as an opener per se.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a little of that whole staff look
Right.
afterwards. And so ideally, like say tonight, like if you were to script this exactly how Kevin O'Sullivan would want it, would be Peterson gets you 6, Luke McNeely gives you 1 or 2, and then you're sitting there ready to go with Jay Clemente, who
Correct.
could go an inning or 2, and now you're intact, you're ready to go for game 2 of the series.
And what we've seen really has been Peterson right to Clemente, because he's been giving you the Goose Gossage 3-inning save.
Pop foul to play. Cade Snell up for the 3rd time. He's 0 for 2. He's lined out and flied out. Matthew Jenkins is still staying ready in the Gators bullpen.
And speaking of closers, one of the best in the country, Carson Osmer for Alabama, leading the nation in saves with 16.
Yeah, he's been
So he's
lights
lurking.
out.
Yeah.
Oz, as his teammates call him. A 1-2 pitch. Chop foul. 1 gone. This is the heart of the order. 2, 3, and 4. You already got LeBron. Bonamolo will be next for Alabama.
Oz, huh?
Oz.
How'd they come up with that?
It's probably a meeting, focus group, something like that. Souvenir. Nice play. Well done. Of course, you get, put it on social media. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Donay, I was driving to the ballpark in the street beyond left field. There's a ball laying in the road. And the Gators obviously were taking BP. And there's really only a few guys that hit a ball that far. And I asked, who hit the ball in the road? Donay.
He had a great BP.
Ball's laying out there in the middle of the street. So when you're driving by this ballpark, say around 4:30, beware.
Look at Liam Peterson settling in here. He's longest outing this year, 5 1/3, so he's right there. Former reliever, the 1-1 pitch. Popped out of play, and a new baseball for Tyler Fay.
It's a big opportunity for the young man getting to play in an SEC game.
Take by Brookins.
Out of Miami, as you said, Miami Palmetto High School.
Yep.
Remember Jeff Bezos went? I believe so.
I think you're right. 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. And a punch out on the inner corner.
Ball had a lot of run to it. Borderline pitch. And Fay gets the call. Let's see this ball move. Starts way in, starts working its way back.
And even if he offered it in, I don't know what he could have done with that
Just
pitch.
foul it. Yeah, you got to fight those off. Just foul them off. It's actually a name for those pitches.
Bolzer out into the shift, and it is absolutely whipped by Staten.
You know, the funny thing about the shift, and again, one of these days, they'll probably not have in college baseball. That's a routine ball to Justin LeBron without the shift, and they're out of the inning.
Right.
Right? So you got guys moving all over the place, playing to the left of the bag, right of the bag, this pitch here, that pitch there. It's amazing these teams have fielding averages over 970 these days.
Yeah, 977 for the tie. 2 errors tonight, 5th of the year there for Staten. So a 2-out base runner, and now Lawson in the 2-hole up for the Florida Gators.
Hey, Gators have to make this hurt.
Got to run last inning. Try and keep chipping away at it.
The second time they've got a 2-out, nobody on error.
Draw through at first. Squirts away, but not far enough, obviously, for Bozer to get up and go.
Okay, so here we got Bozer, who we talked about, great at the delayed steal. I think the delayed steal is still on the table here, because if you can get a 2-out run, get him to second base, and then Lawson get a base hit. Because remember, Heyman's out of the game. So I think the stolen base is in.
That's through the hole on the right side. Bozer's on his horse. He'll go first to third. They'll cut the throw, go back to first, and just back in with his right hand is Lawson. Whew. What a heads-up play by LeBron, the shortstop. He cut the throw and went back behind the runner with a rocket over to first base.
That's baseball awareness right there. Because that is a bang, bang play, and I think they're reviewing it.
Uh-oh.
That's a cannon of an arm, and
he's in there.
And I remember on this play, you can't, when you already touched first, then the white base becomes your available base. You can't go back and touch green, but LeBron right there did a great job and was able to whirl around and make this play close.
Play is under review.
It did look like he got back, but
I agree.
That's one of those where it's a little lesson learned here. Don't sleep on that kid. Yeah, he's in.
I have seen, I'm trying to remember which team it was. There was a runner that had to go back like that, and he went to the green bag, and they tagged him out.
Yeah, yeah.
And that just happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was actually, I guess it went viral. All these new bases and rules, this, that, and the other. I mean, players are learning along with everybody else on those.
Stripling, 257 this year with runners in scoring position, and he sends one through the right side. Another run on the board for the Gators. Stripling got the job done. This is all with 2 outs. It's 5-2. You know what, Nick? You know a lot more about this game than I do. But after a pitching visit like that, a mound visit, you're probably going to get one to go get on that first pitch. And that's what Stripling does here. Maybe I'm getting too far into the weeds on it, but I like going after the first pitch after a mound visit.
It actually looked like it was off speed, but he left it right about belt level.
Outs when we come back.
A week ago, got pulled out right around pitch 71, and 65 is all he's going to get tonight.
The run that scores is an unearned run, but the tying run is coming to the plate for Florida. And Faye's frustrated that he couldn't get it done here, and it's partly not his fault. He had a chance to get it done on a ground ball, an easy play to Staten in the shift, and it should have been a 1-2-3 inning. And there'll be a call in the bullpen here for Alabama. Braylon Meyer, the senior here on the senior weekend, cuts and misses here to start against Myers.
Yeah, they're getting Ty Evans being a little over anxious. They're starting him off breaking balls, and he's been chasing them, so he's got to make that adjustment his next time up on that first pitch.
Now ties in a hole here. With 1 run across in the inning, this is now the highest scoring inning of the season for the Gators. The 5th inning, 66 runs, better than any other. Now the 6th inning will have its chance here in a little while. It's sitting at 65 runs. As if I've now personalized innings. Let's call it 8 straight conference games where he's produced for Florida, and it's 5-3.
Got his 3rd slider in a row, but look where this one is. Ends up right over the plate, and Ty keeps the shoulder and head right down on it. Splits the defenders, and they're really making that error hurt with 2 out, nobody on. Great job by Taylor Black holding the runner. They got this in quick, and you see Tybo, as they call him right there. That's his nickname.
All unearned right now. And here's Blake Sear, who began the day as the left fielder. Now at second base.
Base hit here could tie this game. As crazy as that sounds, the way this game had started.
Sears batting .333 with runners in scoring position. Off speed, he just mistimed it. Got a piece of it.
Boy, he is leaving that slider belt high right over the plate. And with 2 strikes, Ty Evans made him pay.
Well, this is all on Myers. There is nobody throwing in the Alabama bullpen. 1-1. Hitters count now. Score the Evans at bat a double and his 24th RBI. Two-1 to Sear. Same spot virtually. And now a 3-1 count. Nick, I know you talk about this often. Hey, look, he's got a base open.
Yeah.
Don't make a mistake here. But Brody Donay's the guy on deck right now for Florida.
Well, I'm hunting fastball if I'm Sear.
Ball 4, they're loaded. And again, all this comes with 2 outs and after the error by State and the second baseman. And the 8th man to bat will be Brody Donay in the Gators half of the 5th inning.
Yeah, welcome to the SEC where you can't give good teams extra outs.
Gator on every bag. Donay will get a timeout and tutoring from Chuck Girolamo. And now Alabama's bullpen stirring again with Hayberger up and getting loose. Donay with 14 home runs, his most recent on Sunday at Texas. He went the opposite way, used the wind at his aid. Chops this one, backing up the third baseman. A mile across, he is safe, and another run scores.
I think he beat it. They want to check, but look to me.
My phase 3, did not get an out. Gave up a double, a walk, and a single. Hayberger, almost to the third base side of the mound, is ahead now on Yost. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, if you're Yost, you got to be thinking he's going to throw me off speed to get me to chase and be ready for it.
1-2 pitch. Got him on. 1-1's the count. As you saw on the radar gun there, and as Nick mentioned, McNeely can run it up there pretty good. 97 on that last pitch.
Wow.
Torres will be next, then Mizell. And that jams up Will Hodo, who singled his last time up, and that shoe may be a little harder to come off later tonight than it was to get on.
Yeah, it's tough. You start fouling these pitches off, and
this shot is rare for me. How many times do you see a guy get up there now with no kind of a shin guard or anything else?
Well, that's the world I knew.
1-2. Wooden chase, trying to climb the ladder there. When McNeely's on, he is on. And that's the case with Luke and a couple of the guys on the staff, is that as he popped him up, Bulls are trying to find it. It's in the twilight. He lost it, and it's going to drop. And it's going to end up being a double.
Brookins didn't see it either.
With the leadoff double. And now it's full from McNeely. Torres has got a .484 slug up to the minute. He picked up his 37th RBI of the year with a base hit in the third. That was the 3-run third. It's the only run driven in without the power of a home run on the Alabama side. Payoff pitch. Stays alive. And you were on Torres from the first time he came up to the plate tonight. Kind of his backstory a little bit. And I'm paraphrasing maybe. Be careful with this guy, is what you said.
Yeah, he's been around. He's an accomplished player. Transferred from Miami. South Florida kid.
Walked him. Just missed.
That's a good at-bat. I mean, he fell behind it, and instead of getting him with an unproductive out, he actually reached his base. Now, Rob Vaughn's got some decisions to make. You know, Sully's going to go out and talk to McNeely. I'm sure he's going to look a couple of things. You know, the lost pop-up's not
running into a double play. Anthony Papio, the third base coach, had his attention. He's back in and ready. 1-1 from McNeely. Thumbed it in there for a strike. That's what I mean by the stuff, right?
Boy, a strikeout would be huge here and an unproductive out if he can get it.
Got one. Don't able to hang on to the foul tip. So the big first out there for Luke McNeely.
Just blows the fastball right by him, and he's been, what, mid-90s and above here tonight. And Mizell just behind it. Boy, if the Gators can get out of this inning, that would be a big shutdown inning after putting up the 3 spot in the bottom of the 5th.
And I think that, you know, that's, again, one of the things that Kevin O'Sullivan has preached. There have been times this year, as Staten sends this one down the right side, Stripling on a dead run will run out of real estate.
Yeah, I know.
Is that look, my offense does something, whether it's grab the lead, close the gap, and then we go out and let go of the rope, basically.
Well, Sully calls it, we give up rebound runs, and that's the term he uses. And that's what been happening during the bad streak. But that's been a while.
Yeah, Gators 12-3 in their last 15 SEC games.
And part of it is the fact that they have limited rebound runs.
Correct.
After his team has scored.
The staff ERA during that time, 3.79. Way off of where it was in the first 12 in conference play. Gators wanted that one badly. Ronnie Teague would not give it to him. 2 on, 1 out. This is the 8th spot in the Alabama lineup. The next to Staten. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string on that. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And as far as McNeely goes in this stretch, he's making his 8th appearance in these last 16 SEC games. 2-2.
Actually, it was Staten, the guy that broke his finger and had a pin put in it, not Plattner, even though both of them did fracture. Their hand was Plattner and the finger to Staten.
Keep going. What was the injury?
Staten broke it. He started off hot, and then he broke his finger and they had to put a pin in it. Missed a lot of time. And it was the catcher Plattner that broke his hand. I mean, you go through a long season, these things are going to happen, and Gators obviously victim of that.
Try the 2-2 again. Wow, tell you what, he is fouled off now 3 really good pitches from Luke McNeely. in the shutdown. Yep.
I could see where McNeely was going with that pitch. He just hung on it too long. He has gotten Alabama hitters to chase that slider.
That might be the best location that Plattner's going to see in this sequence.
I agree, because he's probably going to get the nasty one to get him to chase. Let's see if Sully crosses him up with a fastball up and in, or he gets him to chase with the slider. It's going to be one or the other.
Look out over that first base dugout. That is out of the view of your screen right now, but that ball was headhunting over toward the Gators' first base dugout.
Well, you saw what Sully did. He had him come up and in, so he's got him set up for the slider here.
2-2. Charging, Lawson, clean, throws good. Oh, and they can't dig it out at first. And the play at the plate is going to result in a run scoring. And Stripling, who's playing first now, after Brody Donay had to go catch with Heyman's injury, unable to dig it out for the end of the inning.
Might call that a hit and an error. Let's see, this is a tough play. Swing and bunt. This is a tough play that Lawson has to make. Now they'll probably tag him with an E because he had it under control fairly early. Well, that's that ball that was lost in the twilight.
Yep.
Ends up scoring.
Ends up scoring, Hodo. It'll be an error charged to Lawson on the throw. 9th error of the year for Lawson. Oh, that is like a punch in the stomach if you're a Gator.
Yeah, and because there were 2 outs, Hodo was able to go 2 bases on that.
So now that top of the order is here, and Bryce Fowler, 1 for 3 tonight. Singled and then scored on the Bonamolo home run.
It's interesting tonight, and we haven't seen it much this year, where errors have really opened doors for both teams in one game.
Yes, it's a great point. Tardy on that cut. And here's McNeely again in a 2-2 count. This has kind of been the...
He made the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, he made the pitch to Plattner. It was a good slider. It was a routine ground ball.
This better get foul for the Gators, and it does. How about that? Bottom of the 6th.
I think if you bring your glove to a game, you're considered an optimist, because the odds are not with you. So I like that.
I think I've told you before, of all the baseball games I've ever been to, never have gotten a foul ball.
Okay.
Never. So you're safe with me. 2-2 again. Got him up the ladder. McNeely gets the strikeout, but a run comes.
Dozens of times through the years, he gets an opportunity in a big SEC weekend due to injury, and comes up with a big double and brings the potential tie run to plate. That's special right there. I mean, you wait your turn, you wait your turn, you wait your turn, and here it is.
Talk about, you know, stay ready, even though there's no plan for you to be ready.
It's probably a surreal experience for him. His heart's pounding, I bet.
I mean, it's one thing to be an eligible bench player, right? Maybe you've gotten a spot here, a pinch hit there. Yeah. Literally, you're coming here doing your work with no expectation that you're playing this year.
Well, all it said, he had to go to the locker room to get his stuff.
Yes.
In the middle of the game. That's how much he expected to be in this ball game tonight. That is huge right there. Back-to-back double single. This is a rope right up the middle, Bozer style. We've seen him do it a lot this year. And now he's the potential tie run. Now let's see if they pick a pitch out for him to go. Now he's got a left-hander and Heiberger that he's got to deal with. as far as his move over to first.
Lawson ready, first to him's low. Boser's got 20 multi-hit games now this season. He's reached three times tonight. Lawson trying to get out of his slump. Singled and then eventually scored last inning. Two for his last 16 is the Canadian, Lawson. But even a mature freshman will know I only remember the hit that I had the last time I was standing in this position. Long pause here from Heiberger. And clock.
No, what I think they're saying is eventually Lawson just called timeout. Because he was tired.
Yeah, he's marking a timeout.
Yeah, he was just tired of waiting. And we've seen pitchers do that to where, now he can't do it again, where pitchers will come set and they'll just freeze the hitter and let the clock run all the way down. That's some tactics I've seen used with these pitch clocks. Sometimes to a lot of success, where you just freeze the hitter.
Another long wait.
Yeah, like this, right here.
Pitch clock at 9.
Yeah, this is just a tactic. Now, if you're a pitcher that can keep your balance and your focus and your mechanics all the way down there, that's great. That's advantage pitcher, but a lot of guys can't.
How much of this is also to get Boser at first to get his feet really settled, a guy that's beaten teams with a delayed steal? Is that part of this equation?
Yeah, it's a double prong strategy right there, because the more you hold it, invariably the base runner's heels are going to end up hitting the ground, which is going to be disadvantage big stealer.
This is with the speed ball there, Heiberger. Austin Morris, number 99, now warming in the Alabama bullpen. JT Blackwood is up for like the 18th time to throw tonight.
It's interesting that he has not really given him a good move at first.
Remind me of the pitcher that could never throw to first. As Lawson goes down on strikes. John Lester, right?
Yeah, John Lester.
Thank you.
And it was crazy in the World Series. Cleveland didn't take advantage of that when the Cubs beat Cleveland. Steve not Egan, take advantage of it.
Steve Egan just shot you a look.
Well, sorry, Steve. Should have thrown over.
So 2 outs, and now Stripling, who had an RBI his last time up. He takes strike 1. One run already in on the Boser RBI. He's still at first base. Stripling tonight's been hit by a pitch and the RBI single. Steve Wright, there's the delayed seal. Slide, in there is Bobby Boser.
Perfect, yeah.
The 17th of the year.
Totally executed on the delay steal. And make a note of that for future base runners. He, for some reason, did not want to throw. Now, look, you got the middle infielders running. One of the better guys in all, I say the best tag guy in all of college baseball is Justin LeBron on stolen base attempts.
Heiberger, athletic, makes the play. The Gators are limited to the 1 run. His home run earlier tonight is 18th. 1-1 the count. Braun has turned a lot of heads, let's say, this year.
He has. I mean, South Florida kid. How about this summer team? Frankie Menendez with the Gators. Frankie Menendez Rodriguez with the Gators. Jason Torres and LeBron were all playing summer ball down in South Florida on the same team. Pretty good team.
Did they ever lose?
Well, it's the 3rd time, the hat trick for LeBron. Got him chasing that slider again.
Well, I'll tell you what, Luke McNeely now has struck out 4 of the last 5 he's faced. And now Cade Snell. 1 ball, no strikes to Snell, who's 0 for 3. He struck out his last time up. Otherwise, a line out and a fly out. Here in the 7th, McNeely trying to set up perhaps Jake Clemente, and there is a right-hander already up in the Gators bullpen. The job here is to bridge Peterson to the closer. And Luke's ahead. Well. Billy Barlow still in position here if needed.
Yeah, I don't think you bring Clemente in unless you tie it or grab the lead.
Florida will send up Ty Evans, Blake Sear, and Brody Donay in their half of the 7th inning. The 2-2 pitch. Tomahawks one. High out into right center. There's Yost. 2 away.
They've done a good job on Cade Snell because that's a dangerous hitter. They've gotten 4 times tonight.
You're not kidding. I mean, 384 overall in the season. This is batting average into that at bat. Richie Bonamolo Jr. on his way to the plate. Stressful night for Kevin O'Sullivan. The starter wasn't like all that crisp. He's lost his starting catcher to injury tonight. And the second baseman, Nato, had to come out. But his Gators, who have been so resilient since early April, and go back to the conversation that we had, Nick, because I remember talking to Brody Donay as they kind of got the ball rolling. And I said, Brody, can you put your finger on when this turned? And he said, I'll tell you what it was. He said it was April the 8th when Florida beat Florida State 5-4. Since then, Florida's been on a tear.
Brody,
5 straight series wins.
Brody's like your Huggy Bear.
And he's the one that kind of
he gives you all the inside info. Remember
Luke and Brody, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ashton Wilson and Ty Evans. Those are the guys that look, and I like that because that's leadership on their part. This is a swinging bunt to McNeely.
Yes. Played Huggy Bear, and his son was a star running back for Southern Cal. Actually played, I think he played in the NFL.
Well, Dad was pretty good size.
And that's all I remember about Huggy Bear.
Yeah.
But he gave all the info. One swing and a bat right here.
Good take by Tybo here.
Yeah, you know, Ty Evans, it would be only fitting if he goes out this weekend with a bang because he's been like a 4-year starter at Florida and been a big cog in many of the teams that gone to the College World Series. In fact, we talked about it in the Open. Nobody has hit more home runs in a College World Series, the number 5, than Ty Evans did 2 years ago.
It just kept happening. That was the crazy part about it, right? I mean,
yeah.
He did it again. RBI double his last time up.
And that ballpark is not a ballpark, gives up a lot of home runs, so that's a record that could stand for a while.
You know, we talk about how this particular Gators outfit was built this year, and the conversation about it, as it's now full to Evans, was fashioning a team that could utilize Charles Schwab Field more, okay? Yeah. In that, when the season started and you had the whole picture right there, that's a leadoff walk for Ty Evans. The tying run is aboard for the Gators here in the 7th.
Good at
in
bat.
That it's hard for a team that relies solely on the old Earl Weaver 3-run bomb to be as effective at Charles Schwab Field. So could the Gators be more dynamic offensively? And here we are into the final weekend, and you're out of depth. All your options, your center fielder, your shortstop, your second baseman, your catcher, another outfielder, all injured, right? And so all that dynamic versatility that you had at the start of the season has disappeared.
Yeah, we talked about this team the first week. I remember the first open of the season, we talked about all the depth this team had from 1 through 9. There were 7 outfielders, and you're like, how are you going to keep all 7 happy? Well, within a couple of weeks, they're down to 4. Right. So it's one of those deals where Kevin O'Sullivan's done a great job piecing it together with the injuries, and the pressure's on him now. There's, Luke Heyman, Gators are hoping this is temporary, him out. You never know, but a guy like Blake Brookins stepping in and getting that big double last at bat.
Alabama's going to make a pitching change here, and that'll be it for Heiberger, who's had an up and down outing out of the bullpen. JT Blackwood is on his way in for the Crimson Tide. 1 on, nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. The 4th pitcher of the night for Alabama here in game 1 is right-handed junior JT Blackwood.
Yeah, Blackwood was a starter earlier in the year for the Crimson Tide. Fastball gets up there 90-93. Strike thrower, slider change. You can see the limited walks in 32 innings. Look, here's where we're at when you talk about Alabama and their pitching. They're just trying to get to Osmer as best they can with a lead.
Yeah.
And again, they're trying to do the opposite, try to get the lead and not have them bring in the closer, Carson Osmer, who leads the nation in saves.
Blake Sear in on the right side to face Blackwood. The tying run is aboard, a leadoff walk to Ty Evans.
He's got 2 sacks on the year if they go that route.
First to Sear, breaking ball and a foul tip. Jake Clemente is now up and throwing in the Gators bullpen.
I think for sure a tie, or even, they feel good about just being down 1 run. You may see Jake. He wouldn't be up there if that's not what Sully was thinking.
Go 1 to Sear. Outside. Sear's average down to 250. 0 for 2 today, plus a walk. The walk, though, was a part of the rally in the 5th inning. It was just enough to keep it going to allow Donay to come up and score a run with a stroke of his bat. And one at the knees, apparently, makes it 1 and 2.
You know what's interesting? You get stats on how many times you bunt, whatnot. I'd love to see a stat on the opposition's fielding percentage when someone lays a bunt down.
It's got to be out there now.
Oh, 2 strikes, he's swinging, but
yes,
I'm just saying, yeah.
Stays alive by shooting this one out of play.
But I would want to know if the team I may bunt on is a team that just butchers bunts. Because I know minor league baseball, there are a lot of teams out there that butcher bunts. And you get late in the ball game, that's a big weapon to have.
The one thing about measuring that in minor league baseball, though, the 1-2, is how many, how do I put this? Because it's going to be at different levels, right, Nick? So how many times does that infield play together? Isn't it a team game when you're fielding bunts? If you have pieces that are in and out because they're moving up and down the organization, how often is that infield intact? Strike 3 call to Sear. Big first out here for JT Blackwood.
Well, I'm going to take it the other way.
Okay.
In minor league baseball, you're playing every day. So you're going to be playing 6 games a week. Ooh.
That is a borderline pitch.
And it's one of those, unfortunately, you lose the luxury with 2 strikes of taking that pitch. You always have to foul those off.
Sear didn't like it.
He's a big out. But the guy at the plate gave the Gators a lead in 1 swing. Sully didn't like that call.
No. Catcher onto the mound to talk about Brody Donay coming up. Boy, Sully's still letting Ronnie Teague have it behind the dish. Double barrel action in the Alabama bullpen. It is not Oz just yet. Banks and Morris are throwing, and Brody Donay filling up the batter's box again. Tying run aboard, pop foul out of play off to the right. Donay sitting on 14 home runs. Now 32 runs batted in with the RBI single in the 5th. It was a legged out infield single.
Oh, and he knew it.
Stone cold. All right, one out, bases empty. Yost now to try and get it started again.
And this is where you got to get greedy. I call this the Gordon Gekko part of the game. Greed is good. You want to tack on here if you're the Florida Gators.
Yost 0 for 3. The Gators scored 1 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 2 now here in the 7th.
And you got Jay Clemente will be in this ball game.
A 2-0. Same spot.
Oh, you're definitely taking here.
Yep. Heyman goes down the first. Nato has to leave the game on a defensive play. Back in the 4th. And shorthand of the Gators have battled all the way back in a battle there won by Yost. Second walk of the inning, first issued by Blackwood. And another trip to the mound. Ashton Wilson's the scheduled hitter. Now we may see the 5th pitcher of the night for Alabama. Banks and Morris were the last up and throwing for Alabama in their bullpen. Wilson just missed an extra base hit into the right field corner his last time up. He was robbed by Fowler on the best defensive play of the night. They'll stay with JT Blackwood here to face Wilson with 1 on and 1 out, and Florida now leading by 1.
Well, you got speed at first. There's no reason not to send Yost here. Plattner, the catcher, has thrown out 4 out of 16 on the season, so I got to think perfect time to send Yosty on, I would say, early in the count.
There is a ton of hitting room on the right side for Wilson. State, the second baseman, swung toward the bag, and they're holding the runner on at first. And the first pitch is over but low. 1-0 to Ashton Wilson. And guess who's on deck? Blake Brookins, who makes his Gator debut tonight.
Well, that would make sense, right?
12 2/3 innings of work in those 5 appearances. 21 strikeouts during that stretch. Will Hodo at the plate. Hodo, Torres, Mizell scheduled for Alabama. 5, 6, and 7 in the Crimson Tide lineup. Hodo's had a good night. Get you the line on Luke McNeely here in a second. 1-1 the count. McNeely followed Peterson. Gave the Gators 2 innings on the mound. 1 hit, 1 run. It was unearned. He walked 1 and struck out 3. The 1-1 to Hodo. Late on it. It's now 1-2. .71 partner in his last 5 trips to the mound.
Yeah, he's just been lights out. As good as there's been in the country.
Now, he didn't have an easy go of it at Texas on Sunday. He did make it a little bit interesting. In 2 innings on Sunday, 2 hits, 1 run. He walked 4, he struck out 4. Brookins in left. In his Gators debut, he's to the line, and he's got out number 1 in the 8th. Brookins came in to play left when Blake Sear had to go play second when Justin Nato went out with a hand injury.
It's crazy, all these interchangeable parts. You can see Sear right there at second base. That was a long way to run by Brookins.
The first injury of the night was to Heyman. They're obviously out of uniform now. That was all the way back in the first. Got hit by a pitch in that hand. And Torres.
Gotta be careful with this guy with the 11 home runs on the year.
Yeah, Bama says we got one swing too. We can get this thing back to even. Clemente falling away there on that second offering. 1 ball, 1 strike. As I mentioned at the very start of the night, this is the 131st meeting in baseball between Florida and Alabama. The Gators have been dominant here in Gainesville over that history, 35-19. The two teams have actually met 19 times in neutral site games, the majority of those in the SEC tournament. Three balls, 1 strike.
Got to be careful here. I'm assuming he's sitting fastball.
In fact, these two teams played a thriller in Hoover 2 years ago. Up and in. And it is a 1-out walk. The last walk issued was by McNeely in the 6th.
They're going to take down Mizell.
Yep. As I said, he was scheduled, and now Neal has a bat. Brady Neal, who's a catcher by trade. And the Gators huddling here on the mound. And some of this has to do with Bolzer hasn't been playing short all that long, relatively speaking. And now Sears at second. You're going to talk about your defense up the middle here a little bit. Torres has not attempted a stolen base this year. He's at first. There's Bolzer and then Sear. That's your up the middle right now, short and second respectively. So they go one left-handed bat to another, and the first pitch in there for a strike to Neal.
Neal with 2 home runs, 5 doubles if you're looking at his power numbers on the year.
And that one is a beautiful pitch. Neal saying, help me understand where that was. I get it, Brady.
See if they go fastball above the hand, see if he can get him just to be late on it. Nope. Tried it.
You've seen this game before, have you? Once or twice?
Yeah, I've been a victim of that pitch many a time.
Tying run aboard, 1 out. 1-2. See him. Down on strikes is Neal. They barely got to know him. First strikeout for Clemente in this outing.
The straight fastball. Here it is, kid. Hit it. And he took a hittable pitch, or at least a pitch you could drive. Enter third to a lefty.
Now Garrett Staten, the second baseman. 97 on the radar gun for that first pitch.
Yeah, Jake is feeling it.
You know, one of the secrets to Florida's win in Game 1 against Texas last weekend was the fact that the pitching staff was 74% first pitch strikes. Clemente out in front now of Staten, 0-2. Chance here for Lawson. Sends it low again, and it's through Stripling for his second time. That's going to be 2 throwing errors now on Lawson tonight, and it's second and third with 2 outs. Both are on balls that he came in on. And both teams now with a pair of errors in the game. And this makes it all the more difficult. Again, you've got a backup first baseman, like a third string first baseman over there right now.
I mean, yeah, right fielder's got to be aware of that always as well.
9-hole hitter. Popped him up on one pitch. It's Sear, an outfielder by trade, who makes the catch as the second baseman. And Bama leaves 2 more in scoring position here tonight. Alabama's 1-4. And Blackwood working for a second inning. Has strike 1. JT Blackwood came after Heiberger, who came after Myers, who relieved the starter Tyler Fay for Alabama.
When Blake Brookins woke up this morning, what do you think the odds are he'd be leading off the bottom of the 8th, or already having a double in the ball game? Probably not too good, right?
I'm going to go with 0.0. Lutarski's GPA.
Now, for the Gators, it's important maybe to get at least 1 extra run here, because as good as Clemente has been, he still has to get Fowler, LeBron, and Snell top of the order for Alabama in the top of the 9th.
Able to hold off. Brookins trying to set the table for the top of the order. Bozer next, then Lawson. Gators were down 5-0 after 2.5. Brookins battling here against Blackwood.
He was on that one. I mean, how often do you see this, right? Game 50, what? Game 54 of the season?
Yes.
And you guys first at bat.
Well, he's worked it full. He struck out looking on a pretty nasty pitch his very first time up. That was in the 5th.
Yeah, the 2-seamer got him. Yeah.
Double in the 6th, and he's back here in the 8th. Payoff pitch, got him on strikes. 1 gone in the Gators' 8th. Blackwood's second strikeout.
Well, got some nice giddy up there as it worked its way out her 3rd.
2 more arms working in the Alabama bullpen in a 1-run game. There's Buchanan and Robertson. And Bobby Bozer takes strike 1. Bozer with a multi-hit game, his 20th multi-hit game of the year. It's also driven in a run. He's reached 3 times. Reached on an error in the 5th. And he gets hit. Came in on his hand. That's the 3rd Gator hit by a pitch tonight. The most notable one was the one that got Heyman and ended the catcher's night. There's Heyman. I guess to see a smile on Luke Heyman's face there is good, although be it brief. Bozer's okay.
I tell you, it's not a bad thing to see a smile on his face, I'll tell you that.
So now Brennan Lawson. That's a swinging bunt. Blackwood throws a strike to first. 2 gone.
Okay, productive out right there, and now it's up to Stripling, the other player that was inserted due to an injury.
And he drove in a run. That was back in the 5th.
That's a big run sitting out there in Bozer.
Well, you're not kidding. Back to what you said about who's coming out for Alabama in the top of the 9th. Utility player. Stripling is manning first base now. When Brody Donay had to go be the catcher when Heyman went out. Since Stripling came in, he's been hit by a pitch. The RBI single and run scored in the 5th. And then bounced one back to the mound to end the 6th. The Gators are trying to make this a 5th straight scoring inning right now. After being down 5-0 after 2.5 innings. Florida trying to get to win number 36, but here's the other remarkable thing is they're leading 7-6, 2-0, make it 3-0. Florida starts the conference season 1-11, and a win tonight would get them back to 500 at 14-14. That is crazy. And we believe they're in with the 13 conference wins with regard to the field for the tournament.
Yeah, Sean, 13 historically gets you in, and I think this Gator team would be a lock just because you beat Texas on the road in the series.
Yeah.
You beat Arkansas, who was ranked 1 sometime during the season, and Florida State you beat 2 out of 3.
One down in golf. This one, if it's fair, it's a home run. It is foul.
And in one of the polls that's out there, FSU is ranked number 1. So you would have taken series against 3 teams that sometime this season have been ranked number 1.
Yes.
And 13 wins on a pedestrian year usually get you in postseason play if you're an SEC team. Not to mention beating those 3 number 1 teams.
Payoff pitch now from Blackwood. Popped it up to mile up. LeBron, the shortstop, makes the catch. And we go to the 9th. Jake Clemente turning a season around. That right there on your screen gives you the Clemente story, which lines up with the Gators story here in 2025. Swing and a miss, strike 1 to Fowler, the leadoff hitter of the Alabama lineup.
Yeah, top of the order for Alabama, the dangerous LeBron and Cade Snell to follow. No margin for error.
Left, right, left, as far as size of the plate go. Fowler 1 for 4 tonight. Clemente came in the 8th. Fly ball out to Brookins. Found it late, but a can of corn for Brookins.
Big first out. Huge.
And we're writing the story about this edition of the Florida Gators. Where will this night rank in the story if they can hang on to win? First pitch to LeBron, knee high for strike 1 at 96.
Yeah, any way it turns out, it's going to be the biggest game of the year.
Down and in to a dangerous hitter.
Yeah, 18 home runs on the season.
Otherwise, he has struck out 3 times tonight, the 1-1. Chopped a breaking ball beyond the third base dugout.
It's the slider that has gotten him tonight.
The sophomore of Floridian, a 1-2 pitch. Wouldn't chase.
Yeah, just pumped up a little bit too much on that one.
Done wants it down. Here it comes. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Down on strikes for the 4th time tonight. 2 gone in the top of the 9th.
Straight challenge with the fastball. Here it is. Hit it. I'm going to give you my best. And LeBron can't catch up to it.
LeBron, Golden Spikes Award watch list guy midseason. And now Kevin O'Sullivan to discuss Cade Snell.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. I mean, you can say, okay, you got the first 2 outs, but you got a guy that's got 10 home runs. He's a power hitter. This is how we're going to attack him.
Double-digit home runs for Snell. Gators trying to stay perfect when leading after 7. Clemente hunting for save number 7. The pitch away for ball 1. Cade Snell has reached base in 14 straight games. He has not done so yet tonight. 1-0.
Yeah, the game within the game real quick. If the Gators can get a quick out here, you got Clemente only throwing under 35 pitches. Be very fresh for Saturday.
Popped him up. It's a bit of a tweener here. Sear wants it, has it. Chop this one up for the Gators. 15th come.
Well, I tell you what.